Welcome to our YouTube channel, Hinduism Journey of Self-Discovery. Today we are going to talk to Dr. Shankar Subramaniam about this channel and know what can somebody do who's interested in this channel and how can they derive maximum benefit from it. Dr. Shankar Subramaniam is a practicing Hindu based in the United States. He is a professor of mechanical engineering at Iowa State University. Motivated by a deep love for the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Sanskrit language, Dr. Shankar has been spending a good part of his life studying and practicing Hinduism from original texts. Having studied the Vedas and the Sanskrit language in both the US and India, Dr. Shankar is able to bring contemporary interpretation of Hinduism in this broader context, which is relevant to the Hindu diaspora. Namaste, Dr. Shankar.
Namaste. Thank you.
Dr. Shankar, tell us something about this channel. This channel is called Hinduism Journey of Self Discovery. So, what was the inspiration behind choosing this title?
Okay, thanks. That's a good question. Um, and I'll start with basically saying that although the title is Hinduism Journey of Self Discovery, I really think this is a very universal issue that faces all human beings. So, and what is that issue? That we all want to be happy, and everyone is a human being. We're all human beings. The people who are going to watch this are all human beings, and so there is that universal connection between all of us, and everyone wants to actually be happy. Um, but it doesn't take much reflection to realize that the experiences that we have through the body, the senses, and the mind, although they do lead to happiness, it doesn't stay permanently with us. It's transient. And so, probably a better way to phrase this is there is a human quest for bliss. Um, it's interesting that when we look at the word happy, we say I am unhappy, meaning that an implication that somehow happiness is the default state, right? But we don't have the word unbliss or unjoy in the English language, right? So there is a certain more eternal, enduring nature to these other experiences. And so what are the ways to go about it? So everyone is trying to be happy, either the way we work, in our relationships, in our family life, through our exercise, sport. But I feel that the most surefire way to access this bliss is through our Sanatana Dharma. And I should probably explain that word. Sanatana Dharma is a Sanskrit word to those who are not speakers of Sanskrit. Sanatana means eternal. And dharma is, in this context, dharma is a complex word. It has many meanings in Sanskrit. In this context, I would say it is the way. So you may say this is the eternal way, the way that has existed for not only a very long time, it is actually beyond time itself. And so following this path is the surest and easiest way to access that bliss. And I think that is um, sometimes the unstated goal of all our human experience. Right. Now, to come back, I didn't answer your question fully, so pardon me if I go on a little bit. Why is the title Hinduism Journey of Self Discovery? So, although, as I said, the goal is universal, and I will also say that I would not say that this is the unique way to get to this goal. There are many ways. In our Rig Veda, it says, Ekam Sad Bahudha Vipra Vadanti. And that translates to saying that there is one truth, but the wise speak of it in many ways. Um, and so, what is particularly beautiful about the Sanatana Dharma is that not only do I get to experience bliss, but I also naturally enable and support the bliss of everyone around me. And this is very important. The greatest good of all humanity is accomplished by following this path. So it is a journey. It seems somewhat selfish, but it's a journey of self-discovery. So what do I mean? Why self-discovery, and what does that have to do with bliss? Is that when we study the Upanishads deeply, we understand that the true self, its first outermost covering is Anandam, the Anandamaya. Anandamaya means that which is composed of bliss. And so it is only natural that by turning inward and knowing this true self, we encounter our blissful nature. And so that's why the self-discovery aspect of calling it Hinduism Journey of Self-Discovery. To give you a little historical context, we actually started this off as a course, as you know, in AIMS, with people meeting in person, and it was a very interactive with games and other things. I would have loved to continue that, but we live in difficult times, as you know, with the pandemic. A lot of our interactions have gone virtual. And I felt that this is also an opportunity this way to reach out to a larger audience and share those wonderful experiences that we had together with more people in the hope that they will also benefit.
Yeah, so I think it's a similar sounding question, but more on the lines of the resources we are going to put on the channel. So, is there a way to navigate through them? And like in future, if we have a lot of content, is there any guide to how to use these resources, or are there any pattern in them, something like that?
I'll preface that with saying that the goal of this journey um, is ultimately the experience of bliss. So it is what we call anubhava in Sanskrit. And there are certain tried and tested approaches by which one can have this experience. Um, Broadly speaking, we may classify them as the the path of work, or what we call karma yoga. Karma in Sanskrit meaning work, and yoga again is a difficult Sanskrit word to translate. In this context, we may say um, that it's a path to being yoked with that bliss, with the true self. So the path of work is one. So this will be divided into 4 different approaches by which one attains this experience. Um, the path of work, however, serves to purify the mind, but um, in the end, one has to take recourse to the path of knowledge. So that will be another sort of track or section in this channel. Um, and these relate to the fact that as human beings, you know, we have to do something. We all have to work. So the path of work addresses that. We all have an intellect, and we all have to, at some level, reconcile and make consistent our experience at various levels. So the path of knowledge helps us do that. We all have a heart, and the heart is melted by emotion. And the particular emotion that is very helpful on this path is the emotion of devotion. So there will be a section on Bhakti Marg, which is the path of devotion. And finally, the kind of training that is required to embark on this path is kind of a warrior's training. And that is given by the path of what we call Raja Yoga, which is truly the royal path. It is the most direct path to the experience, but it's also for the brave. And uh, so we will have a section on that, talking about some of the practices, etc. So I hope that answers your question to some extent.
Dr. Shankar, are there any final insights or comments from your side about this introduction?
Surely, yeah. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to expand a little bit. So you mentioned I'm an engineer, which is interesting, uh, and that has informed my own approach to Hinduism, um, in the sense that my approach is very practical. I believe that Hinduism is a way of life. It's not an armchair study of books, and I'm very gratified and honored that you complimented me as a practicing Hindu. Um, because that is an important transition in our relationship to Hinduism. Um, and the utility of this channel is because, you know, there are a lot of people who are genuinely interested and don't know much about Hinduism. And this is true definitely in the diaspora, which we are familiar with. Um, and in that sense, you may say, to go back to the question of the target audience, definitely the younger generation who is growing up away from the land of the birth of Hinduism, Bharat, and is yet curious, interested. Um, I think for them, I hope that this will be very useful. But also for their parents, because oftentimes when parents set out to tell their children what it's about, they're at times at a loss for words. And it's nice to have a reference point to start a discussion. and particularly having this in English, because so much of the vast treasure, and this is a treasure, the spiritual literature of the Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism is a treasure, and the hope is that we will open our eyes to this treasure and not forget it, and that's sitting right, within us. Um, so with those kind of intentions, which is not to say there are also people who are not born in the Hindu faith, but have in this lifetime made such tremendous spiritual progress that they're attracted to it. So it is open to them also. It opens up that portal.
That was really inspiring. That was a real enjoyment.
You. Thank you, Dr. Shankar.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for doing this.
We hope that our viewers will be able to find these videos useful and help them tread on this journey of their own self-discovery. Namaste.